Good morning, everyone. Just rolling my mat out. Here we go. Just give people a little second to join. That's about right. Wonderful. So, day 13, 10 minutes of yoga every day. I just remembered the one thing I always forget. And I'm back. I'm slowly getting there with learning how to live stream to multiple platforms at the same time. Every day we're learning. It's all part of the process. So yes, this morning, day 13, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It is 7:30 a.m. here in the UK. I'm here every single day doing 10 minutes of just nice gentle movement, bits of breath work, little bits of like meditative moments, just to prioritize you, start your day, and help you kind of discover yoga in a way that doesn't feel maybe as intimidating as social media sometimes makes it look. So today we're going to run through a little bit of a flowy sequence, and then we're going to bring it back down towards the end with some nice seated forward folds and things like that. So hopefully a good one. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. See how you get on. And yeah, let me know. So we're going to begin this morning in seated. As always, I like to stack one foot in front of the other, just so that your knees can fall out evenly. But you can cross your legs as you know we did in school. You can find that kind of full lotus or half lotus position. If you like to do that, you can sit on your knees, you can lie down. Just finding somewhere you can come and find a couple of moments of stillness just to begin this practice. Finding somewhere to place the hands, maybe in the lap or on the knees, maybe alongside the body. And if it feels comfortable for you, maybe closing down the eyes. And just bringing your awareness inwards. Acknowledging the sounds and things that you might be able to hear around you. As always, checking in with yourself this morning or this evening, depending on where you are practicing with me. Just noticing how you feel, how your body feels, how you feel emotionally. And then just begin to bring the awareness inwards and onto your breath. So not changing anything about your breath just yet, but just begin to notice it. Notice that expansion with each inhale. Notice how that feels in your body. And if it feels comfortable for you, maybe just beginning to deepen the breath. So just lengthening your inhales and exhales. And maybe if it feels okay for you, maybe introducing that inhale through the nose. And exhaling through the nose or the mouth. And this breath is what will aid us as we move through this nice gentle morning sequence. It'll give us focus and bring us back in to ourselves when maybe we might find some little bits challenging, or maybe we just start to drift off into our own thoughts. Whatever it might be, your breath that's got you. If your eyes are closed, just begin to blink them open. And we're going to come to all fours first thing today. So bring the hands underneath the shoulders, and the knees can come underneath the hip points. We're just going to find some nice gentle cat-cow. So as you inhale, we're going to drop the belly down, gaze up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, we're going to reverse that motion. So arching through the back, sending the chin towards the chest. Inhaling, dropping the belly, gazing forwards and up. Exhaling, arching through the back, pressing the ground away, really pushing away. And just take a couple of rounds here in line with your own breath. When I first started yoga, I always used to really hate that I had to make sure that I moved as the yoga teacher was cueing it. And of course, they can't cue it perfectly to everybody. So it's important we learn to just move with our own breath here. From cat-cow, we're going to come to the top of the mat. So you can do that by finding downward facing dog. If you're going to find downward facing dog, splay through those fingers, find those spider fingers so you can feel the ground underneath each fingertip. Tuck the toes, and then you're just going to press the heels down into the ground, hover the knees, and then press the heels down as the hips come up towards the sky. You're going to bend the knees and take small steps towards the top of the mat. If you prefer not to take downward facing dog this morning, from all fours, you can come up onto the knees, and you can simply, as we did the other day in low lunge, you can bring that leg up in front of you, and you can press in and come to step at the front of your mat. We're going to hinge at the hips, and we're all going to meet in that ragdoll pose. So let everything drop really heavy here. Release the neck down, releasing that tension. And you can find stillness here, or if you'd like to, you can find a gentle sway from left to right. Sometimes that feels quite nice. And then we're going to tuck the chin into the chest and really slowly begin to roll all the way up to standing. Stacking vertebrae on top of vertebrae. Head lifts last as we come to stand at the top of the mat in mountain pose. Palms face forwards. Just really feel that ground beneath your feet. Feeling nice and centered here. As we inhale, we're going to sweep the arms up overhead, gazing towards the hands if that feels comfortable. And on an exhale, we're going to send everything all the way back down to that forward fold, hinging at the hips, bending nice and generously through the knees. This might be the first time we've moved this morning, so just bending nicely through the knees, trying not to overstretch those hamstrings. On an inhale, we're going to come up halfway, so think about that flat back position. And I always say, remember, we're trying to balance something on the back. So when you're gazing straight down, nice and flat back. If you tuck the elbows into the body, place the hands somewhere that feels most natural for you. As you do that, the shoulder blades will come to touch in the middle of your back and kind of send them together and down your back is what we're looking for. As you exhale, planting the hands back down on the mat. You can find plank pose here if you'd like to, or you can step one leg back, followed by the other into that all fours position again. We're going to come to lower down onto the mat. So from here, or from your plank, we're going to bend through the elbows, gently lower ourselves down onto our front. We're going to find Sphinx pose this morning. So bringing the hands out in front of you, you want to get your elbows underneath your shoulders. So you're looking for that nice kind of right angle here, that 90-degree angle. And just as we did in downward facing dogs, find those spider hands. really pressing each fingertip down into the ground. And then all we're going to do on an inhale is rise up, open through the chest, finding a back bend that feels good for us here. So that might be very different for everyone. Just finding the level that feels okay for you. And with those spider fingers, you're going to kind of feel like you're sort of pulling yourself along. That kind of feeling of like pulling, if you're on a mat, pulling the mat behind you, pulling yourself along with your fingertips. We're not actually going to pull ourselves along, but that action is what allows us to feel open through the chest and through the shoulders. Just for a moment, we're going to gaze over the right shoulder, coming back into center, and gazing over the left shoulder. Coming back into center, let everything drop back down to the mat nice and gently. And then we're going to either press into downward facing dog, if you like that today, or pressing everything back, sending the hips towards the heels, arms walk out forwards, finding a child's pose. And whether you're in downward facing dog or child's pose, we're just going to take a couple of rounds of breath here. So it's a really nice opportunity to bring your focus back onto your breath. Checking back in with yourself. Just noticing. And then whether you're in downward facing dog or child's pose, we're just going to come to meet back in that all fours position. And then we're just going to swing the legs around to one side. And we're going to take the legs out long. I'm just going to move across here so you can see me demonstrate a little bit better. And we're just going to take a couple of seated forward fold stretches this morning. So with the right foot, bring the sole of that right foot to the inside of the left leg, a little bit like the tree pose that we did yesterday, but sitting down. So the right knee kind of goes out towards the right, if you can see that a little bit better. And then we're just going to take that opposite arm to the outside of the left leg. So that's the right arm to the outside of the left, I should have said foot, not leg. And we don't have to grab the outside of that foot. You can see, unless I really stretch, this is where I naturally come to. I'm not reaching the outside of that foot. The beauty is in the action. So I can feel that stretch all the way down through my right shoulder, through my right side body, as I'm reaching for the foot. You can, if you would like to, bend through the left leg and grab hold of the foot there. And then to deepen that stretch, if you'd like, you can just begin to gently straighten through the left leg. Just meeting yourself wherever you are today. That could be here. Maybe you don't need to bend the leg, but just meeting yourself wherever you are and just honouring that. We've all got completely different bodies and different anatomies. Coming back up on an inhale, sit nice and tall. Think about stacking vertebrae on top of vertebrae. You're being pulled up through this puppet string on the top of your head. Send that right leg out long and we'll take it to the other side. So this time, the left leg, we're going to bend at the knee. We're going to let the left knee drop out to the left. And then the sole of the left foot comes onto the inside of the right leg. Flexing through that straight leg so the toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. And then same thing, so we're going to take opposite arm, so this time left arm, and we're going to reach for the outside of the right foot. I like to place that right hand down beside me just for that extra stability. And just as we did on the other side, just kind of play with it. So do you need to bend the knee to grab hold? Do you want to grab hold? Maybe you don't. And then maybe beginning to straighten through the leg. Just feeling into where naturally feels good for you without kind of pulling and cranking and stretching your body into poses it's not naturally in. Coming back up on inhale as you let go. Sitting nice and tall. Let both legs come out in front of you now. And then we're going to just do really similar. We're going to take a seated forward fold with both legs out straight. So same thing as you inhale, let's take the arms up overhead, really reaching through the side body, reach through those fingertips, all the way up to the ceiling, nice and tall. Keeping the chin parallel to the ground, so don't send that gaze up too high, just nice and parallel. And then as you exhale, we're just going to take the hands towards those flexed feet, so the toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. Just as we did, reaching for the outside of the feet. Bringing your focus onto your breath. And then play with it. So maybe bending through the knees to begin with. Finding a deeper stretch as you sit nice and tall. And then maybe beginning to straighten the legs. As this is the first bit of stretching and movement we've done this morning, you might find you get the shakes a little. I can feel it coming. I can feel my left leg is about to go into the shakes. But it's normal, it's totally normal. It's just your body having a response to being woken up and being moved around. So you can see I couldn't grab the outsides of my feet to begin with. And I've slowly breathed into it. But that's just my body. Some days it doesn't allow me to do that. Some days it does. And yoga is all about discovering, how that works and becoming okay with it and just listening to your body. From here, just gently let go, coming to sit back up nice and tall before shuffling ourselves, because we're going to come to lie on our back. Maybe just for a second, if you'd like to, you can bring the knees into the chest, just give yourself a nice big hug. Taking a little bit of gentle movement here if that feels good for your lower back. And we'll end today with some nice supine twists on both sides. So just releasing the soles of the feet back down to the mat. We're just going to press through the soles of the feet, lift the hips slightly, send the hips over towards the right, drop them back down, and then the knees are just going to drop out towards the left. You can take your arms out wide if you have space, or you can bend at the elbows, and we call this cactus arms. It's a bit easier on the space saving. You can also find one hand on belly, one hand on heart. And if you'd like to, you can gaze towards the right side. Maybe close down the eyes as we begin to come to the final part of the practice. Bringing the head back up into center, lifting the knees back up, soles of the feet come onto the mat. Just pressing through the feet as we lift the hips back through center, just for a second, and then we're going to take it onto the other side. So once again, pressing through the feet, lifting the hips, sending them this time over towards the left. Knees drop out to the right. Finding whatever arm placement feels good for you, so maybe arms out wide, or in that cactus position. And if you'd like to, gazing towards the left. Maybe closing down the eyes. Just allowing yourself to relax. Breathing into this final stretch here. Then bringing the head back up into center, gazing straight up. Lifting the knees, bringing the soles of the feet back on to the ground. Pressing through the feet, lifting the hips, bringing them back into center. And then today we're going to end in that Shavasana pose. So sending the legs out long, arms out alongside the body. But as always, if lying flat on your back on the ground doesn't feel comfortable, for a lot of people it doesn't, absolutely feel free to end your practice in a seat or in a pose that you find more comfortable. If you're in Shavasana, just allowing everything to grow really heavy, relaxing through the whole body, releasing any tension you might be holding in the shoulders, through the legs. I always used to find I would really hold tension in my legs and then notice that my ankles would slowly let go whilst I was in Shavasana. Allow your breath to begin to return to its natural rhythm now. Just taking a couple of moments for yourself to just be here in this moment. Acknowledging showing up for yourself today, prioritizing you for these few minutes, maybe thanking yourself in your own way, and taking as much time as you have or you need here. And I will leave you there to end your own practice. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone. And